Is everyone adequately hydrated? Unlike me.
Welcome, everybody. Over 1 million Americans have spoken. We need student loan forgiveness, and we need it now. Representative Clark, members of Congress, distinguished guests, and members of the 99%, welcome and thank you for being here today. My name is Robert Appledown, and I'm the founder of ForgiveStudentLoanDebt.com and the petition creator on signon.org. 3.5 years ago, an accidental movement was started when I proposed an alternative means of economic stimulus, student loan forgiveness. Since that time, never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that merely writing an essay would hit such a nerve that it would lead me here today. But thanks to all of you, our voices are finally being heard. As Congress continues to play chicken on a relatively minor aspect of the student debt crisis, the looming interest rate on the federal Stafford Loan Program, I'm here on behalf of 36 million Americans drowning in student loan debt to say that much more needs to be done. In authoring and introducing H.R. 4170, the Student Loan Forgiveness Act of 2012, Representative Hanson Clark has proven himself to be a visionary and a true voice of the people. Today, I'm here to present to you the petition I started in favor of H.R. 4170, which as of today has over 1 million Americans who have already signed on. Thank you, Congressman, for heeding the voices of those who are crushed by the weight of their educational debts. Far too many people are struggling each day merely because they sought to better themselves and to better contribute to society because they sought an education. Your courageous actions on the issue of student loan debt gives hopes to millions of Americans that the American dream is still within reach. I'd like to take a moment to extend my sincere thanks and appreciation to Stephen Beal and Stephanie Foucher of signon.org, Chris and Daniel of ulobby.com, Rayanne Roca of Loan Reform Now, Kyle McCarthy of Occupy Student Debt, Natalia Abrams of Occupy Colleges, Matt Siegel and his team at OurTime.org, Aaron Smith and his team at Young Invincibles, and especially to you, Congressman Clark, and your incredible staff, without whom this day would not be possible. More than 1 million Americans support your efforts, and I'm honored and humbled to present this petition to you in favor of the Student Loan Forgiveness Act.
This is my proudest moment as a member of Congress and as someone who had to pay off his student loan debts. I want to thank Robert Applebaum for being a modern-day liberator to help free our people from this financial burden, but also the anxiety that many of our graduates have to deal with over their adult lifetime because of student loan debt. I'm Hanson Clark, U.S. Congressman, and I drafted the Student Loan Forgiveness Act of 2012 at the direction, guidance, and advice of Robert Applebaum. We need to commend him for starting this national movement. Let's give him a great round of applause. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm taking these petitions directly to the House of Representatives so that they know that there are over 1 million people right now who not only want student loan debt cut, we want the student loan debt forgiven altogether. Now, this is not just about cutting and forgiving student loan debt. These petitions symbolize a national movement to change Congress, to change this system here in Washington. You know, as Robert talked about, the whole debate about student loan debt today is about what? Keeping the interest rate on Stafford loans at 3.4%? That's just about maintaining the system for another year. We don't need to maintain the system. We've got to change the system. That's what this represents, demanding that Congress take action to change this system so it starts working for us. Over $1 trillion. That's just too much debt. Now, you and I know is that we get value when we get a college degree. Absolutely. And yes, our borrowers signed a promissory note. So we should pay money on student loans. We should pay for our college degree. But as Robert Applebaum talked about, the value of a college education is not just to benefit the graduate. It helps the entire country. You the more our people are educated, are trained, and also are free to spend their own money on what they want to buy, on what they want to invest, that makes United States of America as a nation stronger. We want to forgive student loan debts to help save this country's economy, right? So, my point is this. We're going to tell Congress, hey, yeah, cap the student loan interest rate for another year. That's just working within the system. But what we need to do right now, we need to cut the loan debt for everyone. Allow people to pay on their student loans according to their income. They shouldn't be going broke doing that. And then if the debt is too much after they pay on it for 10 years, then we do the right thing. We forgive that debt. Now the money that we use to forgive the debt is already being spent right now every year. It's being spent in our overseas military operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. Let's draw down our troops faster, take a fraction of the savings, and forgive student loan debt. It makes the right sense. It's the right thing to do. That's how you really strengthen our country's security. Help people get out of debt. Help our graduates, the most ambitious, disciplined, motivated people around to be able to start their own business and create jobs. People will be able to do that when they don't have this debt to pay on anymore. So this is about fairness. This is about liberty. And the more I think about this right now, it's this press conference, it's these 1 million signatures that really represent freedom and opportunity today, not just the decision over there at the Supreme Court. Because with this freedom that people will have, to be able to invest their money, be able to spend their money, to be able to have the incentive to get an education, people will more likely be healthier because they'll be able to pay and pay for their health insurance and not have to pay it on student loan debt. This is the right thing, but I want to underscore the fact this is not just about cutting and forgiving student loan debt. This is about changing the system in Washington so Congress starts listening to us, not these financial services lobbyists. We need our debt that we have to pay every month, year after year, decade for decade. That's the debt that we need cut. We need to cut student loan debt. We're taking a stand to forgive that debt right now and strengthen our economy. Thank you, and may God bless Robert Appledown. Student loan debt down. Now we're going to hear from our heroes who are motivating our country to take action against Congress so that this place in Washington starts working for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Clark. It's a tough act to follow. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Congressman Clark. Thank you so much for being here. It is an honor for me to be here alongside Congressman Clark, who has been a champion for students for many years. My name is Nacho Casa. I'm a recent graduate from the University of Oregon, class of 2010, with a degree in political science, along with $30,000 worth of student debt. Currently, I'm the legislative director for the United States Student Association, the country's oldest and largest student-led organization in the country. Since 1947, USSA has fought to make education a right for all students. According to a poll released Monday by the Carnegie Corporation of New York, in celebration of the 150th anniversary of the Land-Grant Act, which created the university system in the United States, 3 out of 4 Americans believe that education is a right for everyone as well. Nearly half of Americans said that this is a belief that they hold strongly. Poll after poll show that an overwhelming majority of Americans favor education as a top priority agenda. So why are we here today then? Why do we believe that? Why do we have an education crisis in the United States? Why is our ranking internationally falling in terms of degrees held by Americans 24 to 35? As you all know, student debt has reached $1 trillion and continues to grow every year, while the average student graduates with $25,000 worth of debt. In 2011 alone, students borrowed over $100 billion in federal loans. As available aid, family income, and state investment in higher education continues to be outpaced by college costs, students and their families have increasingly turned to student loans to help bridge the gap. If we continue on this road, we might just hit $2 trillion of student debt before the end of this next decade. The increasing gap between skyrocketing tuition prices and the amount of aid that is left after budget cuts has resulted in our generation becoming the most indebted generation in the history of the United States, all without the security of a job after graduation to help us pay back our debt. This is a scary thought when you consider that higher education has not only become essential for the future of our nation as a whole, but